And now, time to talk sports matters on CEMTV. Stay with us.
Sensational! Absolutely sensational! Sensational! And stadium is rocked! The All Blacks press forward with a driving run. White 5 for 3, it's good! A huge shot! The puck drops in this gold medal game.
The Messi fan to be absolutely excited going into the game against the Pharaohs of Egypt tonight. And, you know, for the Cristiano Ronaldo dos Santos Aveiro fans, they are absolutely heartbroken at this material time, and that's because Portugal got knocked out of the ongoing Mundial in USA, Mexico and Canada. They lost narrowly to La Roja of Spain. 1-0 it ended. Mikel Merino, of course, came through for the Spanish side to ensure that they book a place in the last 8 of the ongoing FIFA World Cup. But then, Belgium striker Romelu Lukaku has created history after his side's 4-1 win against the USA in the World Cup round of 16 clash earlier today. Of course, some teams have been eliminated. United States, Mexico and Canada, joint hosts of the 2026 World Cup, have all been eliminated from the tournament following the USA's 4-0 defeat to Belgium in the round of 16 on Monday in Seattle. Quaresma is in the news. Yeah, Ricardo Quaresma, the former Portugal international. Quaresma has launched an attack on coach Roberto Martinez after the country's elimination from the 2026 FIFA World Cup. Of course, Cristiano Ronaldo's World Cup career has ended after Portugal's 1-0 loss to Spain in the round of 16 on Monday in Arlington, Texas. Mikel Merino scored the only goal of the match in the 91st minute of that encounter. With that to say, welcome to the World Cup edition of Sports 360 right here on CEM Television. I'm that name, you know, the voice you trust and that mayor you probably need. They call me Rex Patrick the Locker. That's homeboy that's never at home. I look around 247-365. I'm your host and guide. Alright, so interesting times. Looking forward to the games coming up tonight at the ongoing FIFA World Cup. But before we get into the games, let's look at the gossip column, because we got some really interesting stories making the rounds at this material time. And guess what? Belgium striker Romelu Lukaku, and that's the big rum, is in the news. And that's because he's created history after his side's 4-1 win against the USA in the World Cup round of 16 clash earlier today. Of course, Romelu Lukaku has been absolutely top for his country, making it count. He came on as a substitute and scored against the World Cup co-host nation to become the first player to score as a substitute in 4 FIFA World Cup matches. Isn't that remarkable? That's absolutely brilliant, I tell you, for the most part. Of course, the former Chelsea and Manchester United attacker came on as a substitute in the 64th or 67th minute of that very encounter and scored in the 93rd minute, helping the Red Devils of Belgium secure a spot in the last 8 of the tournament. He scored against Senegal in the round of 16, against the All Blacks, and that New Zealand in, that was in the previous round, and Egypt at the group stage of the FIFA 2026 event in USA, Mexico and Canada. So Lukaku will now hope to lead Belgium to victory when they face La Roja of Spain in the quarterfinal stage of the competition in the coming days. He's known, I call him the Big Rum. He plays for the Partenope, talking about Napoli. He's well experienced and has been at a very top level for long time now. Several teams. He's won numerous trophies. Has kind of, when it comes to goals, he comes to mind. He delivers at definitely every level. And of course, he's expected to make it count going into the the quarterfinal stage of the ongoing FIFA World Cup. Now, some teams have been knocked out and not happy. The teams are not happy, I tell you, for what it's worth. The US of A are not happy at this point in time. Mexico and Canada, joint host of the 2026 FIFA World Cup, have all been eliminated from the tournament following the USA's 4-1 defeat to the Red Devils of Belgium in the round of 16 stage. That was in Seattle on Monday. Of course, it was an interesting contest. The USA exit completes a difficult tournament for all three co-hosts, who had each reached the knockout stage on home soil but fell short of the quarterfinals. So, no host nation currently at the ongoing Mundial. Canada were the first of the trio to bow out of the tournament, losing 3-0 to Morocco in the round of 16. That was on Saturday, July the 4th, in a tie in which Morocco's Azzedine Ounahi scored twice before a late strike from Sofiane Rahimi sealed the result. Canada's campaign was also hampered by injury concerns over star winger Alphonso Davies. Of course, Mexico followed on Sunday, suffering a 3-2 defeat to the Three Lions of England at Estadio Azteca in Mexico City, in front of more than 80,000 fans who arrived there to cheer them to a remarkable outing. But it ended in, it ended on a different note for the Mexican side. Jude Bellingham scored twice in a 98-second span in the first period, and Harry Kane converted a penalty after England were reduced to 10 men to end Mexico's bid for a first quarterfinal appearance since its last hosted a tournament, and it was way back 1986. Long time coming for the Mexicans, all right, going into the last 8 of the tournament. So Mexico coach, talking about Javier Aguirre, is set to be replaced by his assistant Rafael Marquez following the exit. The United States' elimination on Monday completes the sweep of 4 nations being knocked out of the ongoing tournament. Belgium ran out comfortable, 4-1 winners at Lumenfield in Seattle, a result that followed a build-up dominated by controversy over a reinstated red card against, U.S. forward Valérien Balogun and comment from U.S. President Donald Trump on the march. The 2026 World Cup is the first to be jointly hosted by 3 nations: USA, Mexico and Canada, and the first held with an expanded 48-team format. This is for the first time we're experiencing such. So the tournament, which began on June the 11th, runs across 16 cities. 11 in the United States, 3 in Mexico and 2 in Canada, is scheduled to conclude with the final on July the 19th. With all 3 co-host nations now out, remaining quarterfinals, field is made up of entirely, non-host nations, including Morocco, France, Norway, Spain, the Red Devils of Belgium, the Three Lions of England, Albi Celeste of Argentina, the Pharaohs of Egypt, the Switzerlands, of course, Colombia are also in the conversation, with the final pairing still to be completed. Of course, you got the games coming up later tonight. We'll talk about that in just a bit, going into that very one. All right, so now let's look at the gossip column, where former Portugal international Ricardo Quaresma is in the news. He's launched an attack on coach Roberto Martinez after the country's elimination from the 2026 FIFA World Cup in USA, Mexico and of course Canada. Quaresma has insisted that Portugal has never played a great game since Martinez was appointed head coach of the side. He added that he saw 50 tactics under Martinez and none of them worked out. Recall that Portugal exited the World Cup after losing 1-0 to Spain in the round of 16, and of course that was yesterday. After Portugal exit, Martinez parted ways with the national team. And for Quaresma, he's saying, come on, he's not seeing anything like this. He also added in his words, and I quote, "For me, everything's gone wrong from the beginning until now. Substitutes were made that I don't understand." Well, interesting times. He added that, I'm tired of saying this, but Martinez never failed, my eyes. Like it or dislike it. I don't want to know whether that's the players are upset or not, but we must have much more joy in these. Since Martinez arrived, I have not seen the national team play a great game. So 50 tactics, none of them worked out. The words of Ricardo Quaresma, of course, his teammate with Cristiano Ronaldo dos Santos Aveiro, several tournaments, and of course, at some point in time he was on loan to Chelsea, where he spent about 6 months at Stamford Bridge and gave a good account of himself. So when it comes to tournaments like this, he's well experienced and really skillful. Ricardo Quaresma, during his days, with the national team, yeah. So I don't know what it is for what is what, but then Roberto Martinez has stepped down as head coach of the national team. What's it like for the side going forward? All of these huge criticisms coming, that's on the backdrop of Portugal's failure to make it to the next round of the ongoing FIFA World Cup in USA, Mexico and Canada. And Cristiano Ronaldo's World Cup career has ended after that 1-0 loss to La Roja of Spain in the round of 16. And that was on Monday night in Nigeria, Monday night in Arlington, Texas. So yeah, Monday night. So Mexico are both not quite happy at this point in time after being knocked out. But then, in as much as they are the co-host nation, but then some countries are also unhappy. Countries like Portugal and Mikel Merino ensure that the Portuguese ended as the aggrieved side at the tournament against Spain. He came through, scored the only goal of the match, and that was in the 91st minute of the encounter. It was enough to set the Spanish side aright. For Ronaldo, he said before the match that this would be his last FIFA World Cup. He finishes with 27 appearances, just so you know, across 6 World Cup tournaments, 11 goals, and a record of being the first player to score in 6 different editions of the competitions. Speaking of appearances, Ronaldo played at the 2006 FIFA World Cup. The 2010 edition in South Africa, he was also involved. The first FIFA World Cup to be hosted in Africa. 2014 in Brazil, he was also involved. 2018 in Russia, really involved. 2022 in Qatar, involved. And of course, 2026, in USA, Mexico and Canada, also a part of that very side. Sad times for the Portugal legend, and of course, seemingly, one of the greatest players of all time, or arguably the greatest player of all time. Arguably, all right. So his 27 appearances are the second highest total in the tournament's history, behind only Argentina's Lionel Andres Messi Coutinho, who has made 30 appearances, at the event. Messi's tally could still increase as Argentina remain in the competition. So speaking of goals for Cristiano Ronaldo dos Santos Aveiro, he scored 11 goals across 6 World Cups, a tally that ties him for 9th on the all-time World Cup scoring list. His goal came in different circumstances. 2 goals against Uzbekistan in this year's group stage, a penalty against Croatia in the round of 32 this year, and a hat-trick against Spain in a 3-all draw at the 2018 tournament. A group stage match regarded as one of that edition's best. Though neither side advanced from that particular group. So, at the 2026 edition of the World Cup, Ronaldo then was 21 years of age, helped Portugal reach the semi-finals, where they lost to France. Oh, I recall that. It feels like yesterday. Oh, come on, how time flies. Now, in 2010, Portugal were eliminated in the round of 16 by La Roja of Spain. In 2014, the Portuguese side did not advance from the group stage of the tournament in Brazil. And in Russia 2018, Ronaldo scored his hat-trick against Spain, La Roja, in the group stage. Portugal were eliminated in the round of 16 by South American giants, talking about Uruguay. Now, in 2022, Portugal reached the quarterfinals where they lost to Morocco. Ronaldo, then 37 years of age, left the pitch in tears. We saw something quite similar, coming in just last night. At the 2026 edition, he scored 3 goals in the group stage and the knockout stages. So Portugal were eliminated in the round of 16 by Spain. So there are quite some interesting records to consider going into looking at Cristiano Ronaldo and his time at the FIFA World Cup. So he became the first player to score at 6 different World Cups after his goal against Uzbekistan this very year. He also finishes as Portugal's all-time leading scorer at the tournament, ahead of legends such as Luis Figo. Of course, Luis Figo, remember him, yeah? He played for Real Madrid. Yeah, so, I mean, when it comes to the rally that he comes to mind, when it comes to the greats, when you talk about the great or one of some of the greatest players to ever grace the game, Luis Figo comes to mind. All right, so, but then, Cristiano Ronaldo has got more World Cup goals than the great Luis Figo. Ronaldo's international trophy tally, includes 3 titles with Portugal, among them the 2016 European Championship, which he said he considers on the same level as the World Cup. For him, it means a whole lot because it's not easy playing against some of the best teams, in Europe and all of that. So, and of course, that we saw that it was a victory against France, against all odds. Speaking of France, we're talking about a side that went on after that very edition of the European Championship. They went on to win the FIFA World Cup in 2018. After the European Championship, they went on to win the FIFA World Cup in 2018. So they got into that final, talking about Portugal, that European Championship against all odds. A lot of persons gave it to France based on how they went about business and, of course, the squad and all of that in terms of organization and team spirit. They were better than Portugal going into that one. The Portuguese side, even they struggled in the group stages of the tournament. They went on to, win the World Cup. In fact, they qualified to the next round of the tournament. That's the European Championship as one of the best losers. Now, no one of the best teams of the tournament, right? Struggling, winning 1-0 and all of that, and they got to the final. Cristiano Ronaldo even got injured in the final of that very World Cup. But then, instead of focusing on the medics, giving him treatment and all, he was upright on the touch lines, directing his troops, very much like an orchestral conductor. It meant a whole lot to him. Instead of going down, feeling all pained, and he was right there to ensure that he led the team. And the coach even said something after the game that he felt someone like Cristiano Ronaldo was right there to lead, and he felt there was just a need. And yeah, guess what? They left it late to stand the French side and came up tops at the end of it all. So he says, well, for him, it means a whole lot. All right, that means a whole lot. He did not win a World Cup across 6 appearances at the tournament. But then, those on the other side would be like, oh, come on. Yeah, that's a way of trying to find yourself or make yourself feel really right or happy in some way. Yeah. But then, it's about what it means to you, or how what you see it to be. The 2026 World Cup is ongoing with the quarterfinal round yet to be completed. So we're looking forward to what the teams in the next round, the last 8 of the tournament, have got in store. Portugal captain Cristiano Ronaldo is now the second player in history to start 25 World Cup matches. Just so you know. Ronaldo achieved this feat after starting in Portugal's World Cup round of 16 defeat against Spain, and that was on Monday night. The 41-year-old was unable to help Portugal beat Spain as they lost by 0-0. Following Mikel Merino's late goal. The outcome of the encounter ensured Ronaldo and Portugal, or his Portuguese teammate, exited the tournament despite having a lot of players like quality players or superstars, you know, in the belt, like in the team. However, according to what we've gathered, Ronaldo is now the second footballer in history to start at least 25 matches. But then there's someone ahead of him. The only player still ahead of the Al Nassr forward is long-time rival. That's Lionel Andres Messi Coutinho, who has managed 2 more games than him. Yeah, in the same number of campaigns. Ronaldo is behind the Argentina captain, yeah, who has started 27 World Cup matches. So these two sides, or these two guys, they are two very great institutions. Yeah, I like to say that, or put it that way in a manner of speaking. Cristiano Ronaldo and Lionel Messi, two really great institutions. Yeah, all right. So when it comes to the round of the game, yeah, great guys. They've done very much for themselves. So now let's move on to some other story making the rounds at the ongoing Mundial in USA, Mexico and Canada. And of course this one has got to do with England midfielder Jordan Henderson, who has been ruled out for the remainder of the World Cup. Of course, Jordan Henderson got into this World Cup on the right foot, hoping to really make it count, but then it's not been the best of times, no thanks to injury. Henderson suffered the injury after landing awkwardly as he hoped, over the advertising hoardings following England's dramatic 3-2 win against Mexico at the Azteca Stadium. Henderson appeared to slip and fell on his wrist. England's players huddled around Henderson as he received treatment after the fall. He remained in hospital in Mexico and may need to undergo surgery after a serious break of his arm. The Brentford midfielder was last seen being carried on a stretcher and receiving oxygen, with England head coach Thomas Tuchel confirming after the game that Henderson had been taken to hospital. So Henderson stayed in Mexico with a member of England's support staff and did not travel back with the team to their training base in Kansas City on Monday. The 36-year-old has played just 6 minutes at the World Cup, featuring in the closing stages of England's 3-2 Group L victory against Panama. But he'll now play no part in the quarterfinal against Norway, nor any other games in England. That's if England should progress to the next round of the tournament. With that, now let's move on to the games coming up later tonight. Interesting fixtures at the ongoing FIFA World Cup in USA, Mexico and Canada. Ronaldo and Portugal are out. Lionel Andres Messi Coutinho and RB Celeste of Argentina will be in action tonight. And guess what? They got the Pharaohs of Egypt to make it count. Alright, so now for the Pharaohs of Egypt, they go into this one hoping to pull a really great upset. The kickoff time for the game is 5 p.m. Nigerian time, same time in the UK. So Argentina enter this knockouts. Okay, so now, sorry guys, it's about 36 minutes into the game, so the Pharaohs of Egypt are leading by a yard, 1-0 in that very encounter, just so you know, and that's something to build on. So big shouts, to you guys. So big shouts, I tell you, for the most part. The Pharaohs of Egypt, oh come on, this is absolutely unthinkable. Did I just say Egypt leading by 0-0? Oh yes. Do not adjust your listening device, or do not adjust your TV set. This is actually live. The Pharaohs of Egypt making it count. They got into this match. They got into this on the right foot, and guess what? Seemingly the greatest player of all time, Lionel Andres Messi Coutinho, missed a penalty, and that was a live support, enough to have set the Argentines are right. That's the beauty of the round leader. That's the beauty of the ongoing FIFA World Cup, and that's what football is all about. Interesting times. I don't know what it is, but then wait to see what happens. Interesting times. Argentina won virtually all of the games in the previous the group stages and all of that. Got into the round of 32 on the right foot, knocked out Cape Verde by 3-2, exposing some defensive vulnerabilities. And I guess that's what the Pharaohs of Egypt have capitalized on. Egypt are enjoying a historic World Cup campaign. The Pharaohs reached the knockout stage and then eliminated Austria in a penalty shootout after a 1-1 draw, showing resilience and defensive organization. Their reward is a blockbuster meeting. So now they are keeping it real and making it count, leading RB Celeste by a goal to nothing. Lionel Messi missing a penalty. Is it the first time? Oh no, not at this World Cup. It's not new at this World Cup. We've seen that already so far at the Mundial in USA, Mexico and Canada. Now these are some key battles. Lionel Messi versus Mohamed Salah is the headline matchup. Messi has been in outstanding form while Salah remains Egypt's biggest attacking threat and creative force. So now the game is ongoing, but these are some of the things to expect. Argentina are expected to dominate possession, and that's exactly what they're doing at this material time against the Pharaohs of Egypt. They're expected to create a lot of chances in this game tonight. Egypt will likely defend compactly and look to counter-attack through the Egyptian king, Mohamed Salah. Their pace on the break. Fatigue could be a factor as both teams played 120 minutes in the previous round. 120 minutes, that's no mean feat. You know, the bookmakers picked Argentina as clear favorites. According to Opta's pre-match simulations, they've got roughly 70% chance of winning in 90 minutes, while Egypt's chances of an outright victory are much lower. However, Egypt have already shown they can frustrate stronger opponents, all right, making this a potentially a very tight encounter, and we've seen that so far already. The Pharaohs are keeping it real. Argentina may be favorites on paper, but this is one of the more intriguing round of 16 matchups because both teams arrive with confidence after surviving difficult knockout contests. So let's now talk about some tactical outlooks. Expect Argentina, despite losing by a goal to nothing at this material time, as at the time of this very report, expect them to dominate possession with short, patient passing. Yeah, short, patient passing. Oh, that man, Andres Messi Coutinho. They'll try to stretch Egypt's defense using overlapping fullbacks and quick combinations around the penalty area. Much of the attack still flows through Lionel Messi, whose movement between the lines creates space for teammates as well as scoring chances. For the Pharaohs of Egypt, they are likely to defend in two compact banks and wait for opportunities to counter. Mohamed Salah's pace and dribbling makes him the obvious outlet, while runners from midfield will try, to support him quickly. Set pieces could also be one of Egypt's best opportunities against a technically stronger opponent. Some players to watch, you know that already. So long as the game is concerned. For Argentina, he needs no introduction. Lionel Andres Messi Coutinho, the team's playmaker and leading attacking threat. He's very much involved in the game today. He's desperately eager to ensure that they qualify to the next round of the tournament. Julian Alvarez is another player to watch. He's expected to stretch Egypt's defense with intelligent movement. Alright, in this very encounter. Enzo Fernandez is a key player to watch. He's expected to control the midfield and of course the tempo of the game, for what it's worth. Yeah. So for the Pharaohs of Egypt, that man who needs no introduction is the king of the side, the Egyptian king himself, Mohamed Salah. He happens to be the biggest match winner. Omar Mamouche is another key player, dangerous when running into open space. Mustafa Shuberi is another player to watch. He could have a busy day. That's if Argentina create sustained pressure. So the keys to victory also very important so long as this game is concerned. If Argentina must get back into the game or possibly win this contest ongoing, they need to score, get back into the game, score early goals and prevent Egypt from settling into a defensive rhythm. Of course, we've seen that already. They also need to avoid turnovers that could spark Egyptian counterattacks. They need to stay disciplined when Salah break into space. For the Pharaohs of Egypt, they must keep defensive lines absolutely compact. They are leading already. They need to be clinical with few chances they create. Make the most of corners and free kicks. Yeah, Pharaohs of Egypt are leading by a goal to nothing. But then, Argentina have got more experience, greater squad depth and more attacking quality. Egypt have already shown they can frustrate opponents and remain dangerous if the match stays close. We've seen that already. And that's why they're leading by a goal to nothing. But then, without sentiments, the bookmakers are saying that the Argentines will win by 2-1. Come on, the game is not played on paper. The game is not played on paper. You need to bring in your A game and, make it count. We've not seen the best of Argentina so far at this World Cup. At this stage, this very match against the Pharaohs of Egypt, they need to get back into the game. They need to play more as a unit, create as many big situations as possible. And hey, it's one thing to say your prayers, it's another to do your homework. That's exactly what the Argentines would have to do or need to do if they must make it count or come up tops at the end of this very match. For the Pharaohs of Egypt, they are still banking on individual brilliance. Guys such as Omar Mamouche and Mohamed Salah to frustrate the Argentine defense. Oh, come on. The guys have got all it takes. They are more of a team. They've shown that so far at the tournament, conceding least number of goals. And now, this is a time to showcase that, oh yeah, they are very much, a really good side. A side that can be relied on, all right, to make it count. So we're waiting to see what happens at, the end of this very contest ongoing, the game between Egypt and, of course, Argentina. It's an interesting contest. Two very good sides so far at the tournament, keeping it real. And, Argentina, definitely the better of the two. But then, the game is not played on paper. It's 43 minutes on the clock. All right, and then you got Egypt leading by a goal to nothing. Yasser Ibrahim came through for the side in the 15 minutes of this very encounter. Of course, now you look at what's ongoing already. So far Argentina have recorded about 7 shots, 3 on target. 7 shots, 3 on target. Egypt, 2 shots, 1 on target with a goal to show. Argentina, 7 shots, 3 on target. Nothing coming out of it. So I think it'll be fair to say 7 seemingly, not wayward shots. 3 were on target. So we can say 4 other shots were wayward shots. Nothing coming out of it. So they need to take the chances seriously. And they are enjoying more ball possession at this material time. 59% ball possession to Egypt's 41%. They've recorded about 264 passes so far in this encounter, and that's for RB Celeste of Argentina. Egypt have recorded 175 passes in this encounter with accuracy of 88% compared to Argentina with 90% pass accuracy in this contest. The Egyptians have committed 4 fouls. The Argentines have committed 6. Both teams have got 1 corner apiece so far, in this contest ongoing. But the good thing is the Egyptians are leading, and this is enough. 45 minutes on the clock at exactly this time. 45 minutes on the clock. Argentina 0, Egypt 1. Can the Pharaohs of Egypt hold on to this early lead? Yasser Ibrahim came through for the side early enough in the 15th minute of this contest. Can the Pharaohs of Egypt hold on to this early lead and go on to, beat RB Celeste of Argentina? Can they go on to beat Argentina? Will they eventually come up tops? this would go down as one of the greatest upsets of the FIFA World Cup. Egypt knocking current holders off the tournament, the current holders of the trophy, talking about Argentina, out of the tournament at the last 16 stage, and thereby making it to the quarterfinals. You know, from an African perspective, it sounds really brilliant, but then, hey, Argentina remains the better of the two. They're the better side in terms of squad depth of player quality and experience. So it could still go their way. It's just about Egypt calming down their nerves. They need to calm the nerves, keep a cool head, and approach the second half in an absolute convincing fashion. But then, 5 additional minutes have been added in the first period. All they need to do is avoid conceding any goal whatsoever. But then, the Argentines are piling even more pressure on their shoulders. They need to showcase that, oh yeah, just like we saw in the group stages and the last 32. That's, yeah, they got all it takes to upset really top opponents. That's exactly what they need to show in this very contest against RB Celeste of Argentina. How well will they finish? How far can they go? That's one question that needs answers. Alright, but big shout to Yasser Ibrahim for coming through in the 15th minute for the Pharaohs of Egypt. Mohamed Salah has got goals in him, so the Egyptian kick is also expected to come through. Omar Mamouche, who plays for Manchester City, is another brilliant player to watch, and he's also expected to come through. Interestingly, you know, they are leading and are, you know, looking to end up like this. But then, they still got the second period. The first half is not over yet. Few minutes to go. Few minutes to bring the first half to a close. And then they still got 45 more minutes after the first half, plus additional minutes to play. What's it like? Can Argentina get back into the game? Will they eventually come up tops? That's one question that needs answers. Meanwhile, we can't go any further, sadly. This is where we get to put a pin right here on the World Cup edition of Sports 360, right here on SEM Television. You can follow us on all social media platforms on YouTube at CEMTVPLUS, on Instagram and Threads, on TikTok and X, formerly Twitter, at CEMTVPLUS, Facebook CEMTVPLUS. Be sure to find us, hit the like button, find us, like the page, you know, follow us, drop your thoughts, let's have your review, and then whatever taken right here. All right, been a great time with you out there, and I tell you, you are the real MVP. You can send in the outcome of the game, what you think would happen at the end of it all, via social media on Facebook, on Instagram Threads, on TikTok or YouTube at CEMTVPLUS, whatever taken right here when we return tomorrow. Been a great time with you. You are the real MVP. I remember that name, you know, the voice you trust and that mayor you probably need. They call me Rex Patrick the Local. That's home where that's never at home. I look around 247-365. Who read they serious, but now who pass na he no book. For now, it's a wrap.
And now, time to talk sports matters on SEM TV.